the Switch 2 and with it Mario Kart World finally released, there's just one question on most gamers' mind. Why did I spend $80 on this?
I mean, this console costs $450, and the biggest game on it right now is Mario Kart World. However, not only can you play 8 Deluxe on this new console, you can also play 8 Deluxe on the original Switch. So is Mario Kart World actually better than 8? And if not, why did I buy this?
Because I'm bad with money?
So today I want to put these two games head to head to see which is better, and also determine at the same time, is the Switch 2 worth it for just Mario Kart World? The categories we are comparing today are art style and graphics, gameplay, extra modes, tracks, music, replayability, online, characters, price, and battle mode. So no, I'm not ranking this game based on which game has the better eyebrows on Mario.
But in case you care, 8 Deluxe wins in a landslide. Have you seen those things?
So without further delay, let's get into the first category, art style and graphics. Now both of these games are sort of the gold standard when it comes to graphics in a Mario game. Heck, I'd argue for a Nintendo game as a whole. But both of these games are very different when it comes to their art styles. Sure, both look crazy impressive, especially considering that they're running on the equivalent of 1 potato for 8 Deluxe and 2 for Mario Kart World. However, the art styles go for completely different things. 8 Deluxe is the most realistic looking Mario Kart game to date. Not to say it looks like those videos of what Mario would look like in 2015, but it definitely looks more realistic than the average Mario game. Just to explain this point, compare 8 Deluxe to a game like Mario 3D World, released around the same time. That game, though still looking incredibly good, leans far more heavily into the classic bubbly Mario art style. The difference is clear. However, in Mario Kart World, they go way more cartoony, without losing any graphical fidelity. This is mainly seen in how animated the characters are now. Characters in the Mario series have simply never been more expressive up to this point. So many fun and clever animation details throughout this entire game, like the unique victory animations are also charming and fun. But there is still argument to be made that 8 Deluxe still looks better in some areas. I mean, let's compare Moo Meadows in 8 versus World. In 8 you get a beautiful sunset that looks amazing, but in World you get admittedly way more plain lighting most of the time. And that's mainly due to the fact that the lighting engine in 8 was so incredible. I'd argue it's still better than World's. However, those contests may seem close, it all goes to crap when it gets introduced.
Well, I guess that's where all my Play-Doh got put. I was really looking forward to eating that later.
Yep, now with the Booster Course Pass, half this game looks like crap. In all honesty, it simply just doesn't look like a good game now. Having half your game look like this is just such a real detriment. And you may argue that this is unfair to 8 Deluxe since it's optional DLC, you buy it separately. And even though that is a good point, this DLC will help it a ton in the other categories here. So I think it's only fair to always include it. And I think even with that considered, World just looks better with the cartoony art style. It just fits Mario a bit better in my opinion.
You could argue me saying it doesn't feel like Mario is a dumb point though. I mean, all of these games are Mario games.
Anyways, this point goes to Mario Kart World, taking an early lead. The score is 0-1. Gameplay.
I mean, I feel like this is a real coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb moment right here, honestly.
Mario Kart is not a complex game in terms of mechanics. You can only really do a few things. Throw lethal weapons, accelerate, brake, drift, glide, and drown, so it's not a lot to work with. Now, the game does get a lot of these core mechanics, leading to some actually really complex tracks. However, this is what people do in Mario Kart World.
This was discovered in literally less than 3 days. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could only dream.
Yeah, this game adds a lot. For one, underwater driving is now completely removed, and made worse. Great, that was my biggest complaint. I was just having too much fun in 8 Deluxe. But besides that, the other changes are great. Gliding is now replaced with airplanes that have way more mobility in air. You can also now wall ride, grind on rails, air trick, left and right trick. And now with more racers than ever on the track, it leads to way more quick and on-the-go thinking. It's pretty clear which game wins here. World now has 2 points with 8 Deluxe still at 0.
It's almost like as a sequel that's been in development since 2017, it actually improved a lot. Who would have thought?
Extra modes. Outside of battle mode, 8 Deluxe really doesn't have a lot of extra modes. You have Mario Kart TV.
I would give a hearty boo to this, but I honestly don't care.
There's a custom item toggle in versus races, adding some fun like blue shells every single second, or if you really hate yourself, endless lightning. However, that's kind of it. It's a very racing focused game.
It's almost like it's a racing game. What the hell?
In comparison, Mario Kart World features way more. First off, you got Knockout Tour. These are thrilling races that are sort of structured like battle royales, eliminating racers as the game goes on. And it's a blast. It's almost as fun, if not more fun than the Grand Prix mode. This alone probably would be enough to make this game place above 8 Deluxe, but also includes what very well may be the biggest mode in Mario Kart to date, Free Roam.
Boo!
Okay, I gotta rant for a bit. Free Roam is so damn disappointing. For one, the world itself is damn empty. You have a total of 3 things. First, you have the Peach Medallions and question mark block panels. These are the exact same as one another with no distinct differences. You just hit them and you got them. It's damn simple. And there's no reason to really separate these collectibles. They could both replace each other. It's like if this happened in Nintendo HQ and this is how they got made.
Dude, what am I gonna do? I need to make a third collectible. My boss is gonna kill me. I got it! Control C, Control V!
Then you got the main thing, the P-Switch missions. These are kind of fun. There are a good handful of these I really like, but for some reason, there's just no way to track them. Meaning eventually you get rid of most of them and it's impossible to find the rest of them. The game basically doesn't want you to complete them. But I mean, a kind of M mode is still better than a nothing burger of 8 Deluxe's modes. So I guess Mario Kart World gets another point, as undeserved as it is. The score is now 0-3. Tracks. Arguably the most important element in any racing game. And for what it's worth, both of these games have a stellar track selection. Mario Kart World offers a solid count with 30 tracks. Though this is smaller than other games in the series, these are some of the best tracks in the series. There are honestly no outright terrible tracks here outside of the mid-ish shit ones like Boost Cinema, despite their cool theming. On top of the track selection, you also have 200 plus intermission tracks you can race on. And these, well... yeah, most of these are pretty much just straight lines with not much going on. But I do think some of them are genuinely really fun. In particular, I like the ones to Bowser Castle and a couple of the snowy ones. However, yeah, most of these aren't that great. So basically, they're kind of a non-factor in terms of track discussion most of the time. In comparison, instead of 30 tracks, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has, you gotta be kidding me. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe features 96 tracks. Sure, this is a far less consistent lineup of tracks. Heck, I'd argue Mario Kart 8's best tracks don't even compare to the best of Worlds. But counterpoint, 96 goddamn tracks. At that point, does it really matter that one of those 96 is Toad Circuit? This is one I could see changing in the future if this game gets more updates, but as of right now, 8 Deluxe clears, winning its first point.
Took its sweet time doing it.
The score is now 1-3. Music. These games, in my opinion, both have the best soundtracks in all of gaming. Mario Kart 8's music is performed in a jazzy live style. In fact, the entire base game was recorded live. Even the Booster Course Pass, despite not being recorded live, still captures that same feel and vibe as the base game.
Some of that DLC rarely did.
The music is all great, with some highlights being Mount Wario, Shy Guy Falls, Electrodrome, Mario Kart Stadium, Thwomp Ruins. I could go on honestly. And on top of that, you have a killer selection of remixes like Sydney Sprint, Movie Highway, and Rainbow Road. It's so much incredible music, it'd be hard to top this. Jesus Christ. 200 music tracks is simply insane, and there's some absolutely goated remixes in here alongside a bunch of original tracks. I will say the original music in 8 is a tad better, but the remixes here make it be no contest for who wins here. World wins yet another point, making the score 1-4. Replayability. Now this is a hard category to judge. Both of these games I have synced a ton of time into. Mario Kart Deluxe I have over 200 hours in, making it one of my most played games ever.
Now that I said that, I feel like there's gonna be a bunch of people saying I have 7,000 hours in Mario Kart. My hours are nothing compared to theirs. I'm sorry I have a job outside of looking at Mario.
Every night for a while there, this was the game I booted up. It was crazy fun, and I got pretty damn good at it too. It was a blast to play through, and my hours only increased with the Booster Course Pass. Needless to say, I got my money's worth out of this game. In comparison, in just about 3 weeks, I have over 30 hours in Mario Kart World, making it my currently most played game of 2025. And I'm still having just as much fun as I did day one. However, I feel like if this game gets 0 updates, which could possibly happen, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could still win. Sure, if Mario Kart World does get free DLC or updates, yes, it wins this category, but as it stands, I think 8 Deluxe has it beat for now, just due to its large lineup of tracks. So 8 gets yet another point, making the score 2-4. Mario Kart is slowly but surely catching up. This may be closer than I thought. Online. The online in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was pretty good. It was always full of players. I was always able to get into full lobbies 90% of the time. And when they weren't full, they were full the following game. On top of that, connections were great too. I hardly ever experienced issues I would call significant, which is rare for a Nintendo game. However, the same cannot be said about Mario Kart World. In my experience, I saw way less full rooms in 8 Deluxe. Now, this is a bit unfair due to the fact that rooms now require more players, and also this game has a way smaller player count right now. But sometimes this game didn't even hit the full 12. Heck, I could even get games of 8 sometimes. It was pretty rough. And on top of that, the worst part is, these rooms are a pain to get into. I found myself waiting way longer just to start a match, way longer than ever in 8 Deluxe. Now, this is alleviated a tad by the inclusion of free roam, but even that is a GIMP version of free roam because there's no P-switch missions. I really hope that's fixed in the update. It would make online way less of a pain. I also experienced far more significant issues like game lag and a few disconnects too. Needless to say, this online is currently a lot more flawed than the online in 8 Deluxe. On top of that, we need to talk about... This is the random button, something only really seen rarely in 8 Deluxe. However, since most races online include intermission tracks, people will for some reason decide I don't like these and decide to avoid them pressing the random button. And as someone who's weird and actually likes the intermission tracks, it means I don't get a chance to play them. But I also feel bad for people who don't want to play them. We should be allowed to choose which tracks we want to play. If I want to play intermission tracks, I should be allowed to play them. If I want to just play 3 lap tracks, I should be allowed to play them. And this can be all solved with just 2 separate lobbies, one with intermissions and one with not. However, this would only half the player base. With a player base this small right now, it really wouldn't help anything. So right now, I sadly have to say Mario Kart Worlds Online is nothing short of a mess. 8 Deluxe wins with no issue, making the score 3-4. Yikes. Characters. Another huge aspect of Mario Kart is the character roster. And in this aspect, both games do not disappoint. These are, in my opinion, the best rosters in any game we could ask for. 8 Deluxe has a ton of awesome characters that sadly missed out in World. For one, you have a bunch of non-Mario characters like Inklings and Link who sadly got the boot. You have the Cons, Diddy, and Funky who also got kicked despite being crazy iconic. And Peter Piranha also got cut too. And the saddest of all,
they cut Pink, Gold, Peach, and Meadow Mario!
All of these cuts do seem really bad. However, World makes up with this by putting a fish and its dead cousin behind the wheel. This roster is nothing short of peak fiction. Not only do you get a bunch of core Mario Kart characters with tons of unique costumes now, adding so much to each character, you also get what I like to call
who gave them a license?
Type characters. These are beautiful creations like Piranha Plant, Contour, Cow, Fishbone, Cheep Cheep, Goomba, and my personal main of right now, Sidestepper. This is easily the funniest Mario Kart game roster I've ever seen. To the point I can say with full confidence it is clear as Mario Kart 8's roster despite the lack of Funky Kong. The score is now 3-5. Price. Mario Kart World's biggest talking point is its price. This is the first $8 video game ever, so it has a lot to live up to. And as of right now, it struggles to live up to that price. Heck, it struggles to be a $70 game in all honesty. It has a low track count, only being helped up by its 200 intermissions. And the online is a mess. And spoilers, the battle mode sucks ass. In comparison, for just $60 you get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's base game with 48 tracks, a good battle mode, a good online. If you want to spend $25 more, you double the track count. For $85 you simply just get so much more content. This is easily the category that I can see changing the most, but as of right now, 8 Deluxe clears. The score is now 4-5. Battle mode.
I wonder who wins. The battle mode I said was already good, or the battle mode I made a whole video about saying it was bad. I wonder.
Yeah, 8 Deluxe clears. Not only does Mario Kart have real ass battle tracks, it also has more modes, custom items, more options, while World only has 2 real tracks, with the rest being just racetracks, and with those being simply terrible, with one of them being the worst in the series. On top of that, you have 2 whole modes. I already made a whole video talking about this game, so if you want to hear me more talk about how bad this battle mode is, you should watch that. Needless to say, I'm out of things to say about this battle mode. It's clear that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe wins this category with no issue. Meaning, wait, there's a tie?
Well, now what? Obviously you can't have a tie. But I think the next best thing to do is a tiebreaker. So I present to you the video game cage match. I spent nearly 10 grand on that venue. I don't think I'm making back my investment on that. I complain about Mario Kart World's price. What am I doing?